Thompson, when did you and your clinic become involved?
Around the beginning of November, Ms. Tenbrink brought him in for anxiety and started meeting with therapist Jake Andreasen and started the treatment for that. And then Ms. Tenbrink also started complaining about the school and shared some emails that she had received showing her struggles on getting him evaluated. And it was at that point Mr. Andreasen referred Robin Tenbrink to me as a special education advocate, and also referred her to Dr. Francis Thompson to get an independent education evaluation. And it was at that point that I stepped in and approached the school with the Tenbrink family.
And what happened at that meeting?
Well, Robin had been asking and asking for assistance, and so the school said they arranged a meeting where there would be a couple of teachers there just to discuss what was going on. I told the Tenbrinks, if you want an evaluation, you go in and demand it, and I'm just going to show up with you at this meeting unannounced, and you have your written demand in hand. And we walked in the meeting, and at the very beginning of the meeting, I just said the Tenbrink family would like an evaluation for special education eligibility purposes. Here is their written demand. And they said, oh, wow, great, okay. And then we talked about specifically some of the issues that were causing Taylor stresses in the classroom. And they said, sure, we'll make all these changes to reduce the stress, and they agreed to make about 5 or 6 different changes. And one which was causing him stress was that he was held back from what is called teal time or recess whenever he didn't turn in some specific homework or didn't meet some demand. And we asked them specifically, the one thing that has to be done, do not punish this kid for any type of academic related stuff until your evaluation is complete, our evaluation is complete, and the adults can get together and evaluate the data. And they agreed, and within 2 or 3 days, they kept holding him back. They just did not.
They wouldn't let him participate in these extracurricular activities or the various activities and events that the kids get to participate in as a reward for turning in their assignments and so forth, even though they agreed that they would allow him to participate with his peers in these extracurricular activities. And the child reported to his mother that he felt like he was on suspension, that he was being punished. But that was just part of where the breakdown started.
So did they follow through? Did they follow through with the agreements that you put forth?
No.
No, they didn't do anything.
Nothing.
Okay, what about his file? Was that added to his file? Any review notes from the former teachers in Idaho? Was that brought forth?
Well, his file is a whole additional situation, the most unusual, bizarre situation that either of us have ever seen. A child, from the moment they start in school, a file is developed called a cumulative file.
Right.
And it includes mundane things like their picture card and their report cards, or a list of their grades in every class, and then anything else that needs to go into it. And over years, even a child not in special education is going to be building up a cumulative file that's going to have all sorts of reports and teachers' notes and so forth in it. When the Tenbrink family demanded in writing that an evaluation be performed to determine if he qualifies for an IEP, one of the first things you want to do is go to his cumulative file and take a look at what's happened in the past, so you can build upon that and help you in the determination process.
Sure.
We found out, at least Dr. Thompson found out, and Dr. Joel Tenbrink, the father, found out in January of this year, just less than 2 months ago, when they went to the school to get a copy of the cumulative file, that there was nothing in it but his picture card from Idaho of grades K through 5, and nothing else was in his file. No reports, no teacher's notes, no letters, nothing was in his file. Highly unusual. During the process of what we're going through now, we found that school psychologist, Mr. Trin, checked out the file on December 13th of 2013, 1 month before, because Dr. Tenbrink went in on around January 10th, and then Dr. Thompson went in about a week later on, I believe it was January 16th of this year, to take a look at that file and obtain a copy of it. Mm-hmm. Well, they both found out that there was nothing in the file but one picture card from Idaho and not another thing. But if that was the case, Mr. Trin would have known that a full month earlier when he checked out the file as part of the evaluation process on December 13th. Nobody was called. Nobody was notified. The schools had already had an appearance of Dr. Gary Thompson as the family's advocate. The parents, Dr. Joel Tenbrink and Robin Tenbrink, nobody was notified that that file was empty until Dr. Tenbrink went in and found that it was missing, and then Dr. Thompson followed up and found the same thing.
Are the schools obligated to tell the parents that they're missing a whole file?
I believe under the FERPA law, under the Families Educational Records and Privacy Act, FERPA, that first of all, the file has to be maintained and kept as part of the law. Mm-hmm. Secondly, if you're in an IEP evaluation where you're trying to determine if this child qualifies for special education, and you find that the cumulative file is missing, that there's nothing in it, you would think that the very first thing they would do is try to figure out why it's missing, where it is it lost, did it not make it down from Idaho, did it not make it from the elementary school to the middle school, and you certainly would want to inform the parents or their advocate that's already appeared at meetings at your school on this very subject. But they said nothing to anybody until the child's father found out that the file was missing. Dr. Gary Thompson found out that the file was missing. And even then, they did nothing to help figure out where it went or how to fix that problem.
Okay, so did they then go back to Coeur d'Alene and say, can you resend the file?
Well, Dr. Gary Thompson and Early Life Clinic, on behalf of the parents, contacted the schools in Coeur d'Alene. Mm-hmm. And the schools in Coeur d'Alene provided a document that showed that the file was sent to Alpine School District and Saratoga Springs Elementary School in January of 2013. There's no FedEx receipt or U.S. mail receipt, but it's a form that the Coeur d'Alene School District uses, and all school districts will use a similar form, that when a child transfers from one district to another or one school to another, even from the elementary school